right, listen up. This is the Music Scene Podcast. I am your host, Dave Cudrak. Today we've got somewhat of a local legend on the show. Super nice guy, hard worker. He is a student of the game, right? And what I mean by that is this guy loves to continually learn and better himself and just work on his craft. So I really admire him for it. We've got Joe Lombardo on the show today. He recently came out with an EP titled The Way of the World. Awesome stuff. He's worked with some very talented people to help get his songs written and recorded and have the music videos shot for them and all that stuff. So great stories, great guy, and really just kind of like an all-around personable, friendly dude, right? He loves stories. He loves talking to people. He loves just life experiences. So yeah, I'm super happy for him being in the place that he's at now, and you'll get a sense of it after listening to this conversation. We get 2 songs from him at the end, so make sure you stick around for those. They're awesome. And enjoy my conversation with Joe Lombardo. All right, we're here with Joe Lombardo. Joe, thanks very much for being on the podcast, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me just make sure everything's working. All right, good. I think we're good. So yeah, I think I met you for the first time at what's it called? The Reunion Hall?
Reunion Hall, yeah, man.
Yeah, there was David Kelly was hosting an open mic there on a Monday.
Absolutely.
I don't know how long ago that was. Maybe 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that.
The scary thing is, Dave, every time I turn around, it's like 6 months have gone by. It's like, yeah, that was yesterday, and that was last year.
I know, right? Leanne and I are always talking. We're like, yeah, remember when this or that happened? And we're like, yeah, that was like 6 months ago. And then it's like, man. No, it was like 2.5 years ago.
Welcome to my world, right? And now that I have kids, the only thing about having kids is making me realize how quickly time is by.
I know, it's crazy.
Because you have the the smartphones now. They keep the pictures, and then ever so often they run a little video.
Yeah, like a memory.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's rough for sure. Okay, so let's kind of dig into it a little bit, right?
Sure.
So, how long have you been doing music? Like, when did you start?
When did I start wanting to try to do it?
Yeah, sure. Let's go all the way back to the beginning.
All right, all the way back to the beginning. I was probably in the 90s when I loved grunge era.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, me too.
In the 90s, it was kind of resurgence. I mean, I'm going to be 60.
Okay.
So in the 80s,
you're doing great for 60, man.
Well,
look at you.
Here's my story to that. My mother gave me her hair and gave my brother all her looks, and he's a handsome guy. So
nice.
We'll go from there. But so the 80s, it was a certain genre of music, but I at the 80s, I'm listening still to 70s music.
Okay.
And still the 60s music. I have vivid memories of being a baby and here in the pop music, this pop 60s music of my parents play, like Downtown or the Turtles, that's where I grew up in. So by the 90s came around, I think everybody wanted to play guitar at that point.
Yeah.
And so that's when I picked up my first acoustic guitar, but I never took the time to invest in the time to learn to play right. I mean, I would, there wasn't the internet back then, so you had to kind of figure it out by yourself and getting these books. And I got attention deficit disorder, so that really didn't last too long. So I think my first guitar was a Yamaha, and I still have it. It's up in my attic area of my house, and it's broken, but it's cool. I keep it.
Nice.
And I let my kids mess with it.
Okay.
Although I find their fingerprints on my guitar now, so that's okay. And that's a story with it. So, throughout the 90s, I hacked it to guitar, and there was probably a time in the early 2000s where I probably focused more trying to learn it. I took some lessons, but really good musicians, younger guys, but it just didn't take.
Okay.
Right. A lot of times I not the Guitar Center, but I forget the name of the places that they changed over the years. And I would have lessons with these younger guys, and they would struggle through it with me, and then they start playing their stuff, and I'm like, this is really cool. I'd never be able to do it. But I remember my buddy had a restaurant over in Voorhees. Here was a Japanese restaurant. Forget the name of it now; it's changed. But he used to be into the Beatles, and he used to have like his karaoke. So he goes, I brought my guitar there. I started playing sometimes, and one of his friends would play it. I remember we had a harmonica, and I remember playing Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Oh, cool!
Right,
Nice.
And I'm sure at the time, because I had no singing lessons. I was probably awful, but it was fun, right?
It's all what it's all about.
So, moving forward, nothing really came from that. And I guess too, looking back, when I was a young kid, my mom played piano.
Okay.
She sang in the choir and all that stuff. And my dad eventually did too. But my dad was that was a state trooper.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
for Jersey.
And I was a small, scrawny kid growing up. And I think he thought the best way for me to kind of get through life was to be athletic in the sports.
Okay.
And I wasn't a very big kid for most of my sports career. It didn't kind of kick into I was 13 or 14, but I was moved away from the music area. I remember like when I was in middle school, there was I took drum lessons.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And with one of my friends, his name was Arnie. And Arnie went on to be an awesome drummer. He played in the school bands. He played in some rock bands.
Nice.
And, Arnie was just a cool guy. And tragically, Arnie lost his life when he was 18.
Oh.
And
how?
Car accident.
Oh,
doing brutal stuff we all did.
Yeah.
I was away in college, and I hadn't been in contact with Arnie for a while. I was away. And then out of the blue, I'm just talking about Arnie all week. Everything was Arnie.
Yep.
And I came home, and my mom's, because I got some sad news to tell you. It's strange how that.
Yeah, it's weird how you were just talking about him.
It's almost like he came out and touched me.
Yeah.
And I'll bring that first full circle because I have a story on that. So now I'm playing now, and I grew up in Hamilton.
Okay.
So there's a open mic in Hamilton at the Rascal distillery.
A Blue Rascal?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm there, and I invited a lot of my friends that come out, and I still have my buddies that I grew up with. And one of my buddies was, he was a real tough dude in school, but I loved him because he would always protect against bullies.
Oh, that's good. Nice.
And he and Arnie was a mutual friend of mine. And I wrote this song. It was kind of like a garage band song, because when I was a kid, although I didn't play music and my dad pushed me towards sports, I had my friends who were musicians, and they would play in their basements and smoke cigarettes and other stuff and drink. And I get to hang out with them. And, I watched them progress through high school, and it was just awesome. And Arnie was one of them. So I dedicated the song. It was just a 3-chord song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, I want to be with you. My friend's crying, right? And he's a tough dude. He goes, oh man, he goes, you keep on getting pretty every time I see you. I love you, brother. Oh my God. But it's music has a way of connecting us to the past, as if nothing ever changed, right?
Right.
And that's probably always been my interest in it. So let's take it full circle to where I'm at now. The pandemic was awful for a lot of reasons.
Sure.
But it was also wonderful for a lot of reasons. I mean, a tragic situation can lead to something positive.
Yep.
And for me, my mother did pass during the pandemic, and she had Alzheimer's, and she was in a home, and she caught COVID before everybody thought it was COVID. It was, but it was funny. I'd go visit her, and she became like a child towards the end, but she always knew who I was.
Oh, okay, good.
I'd go in because here's my son. He dyes his hair. So, my mom was still my mom to the end.
Nice.
But I think after she passed, it started to reflect on who I was, right? And I realized all these years I thought I was very much like my dad, and I am very much like him in many ways, very good ways. But I'm also very much like my mom.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, my father's mother would say, she'd look at me and said, one face, and something in Italian, but with one face, look at my mom and her. And so I tell people, I said, you meet me, you meet my mom.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was hanging out with a buddy of mine. You know Matt Portella?
I know the name. I don't think I've met him personally, though.
Matt's an attorney, and he's also a really excellent performer. And we had a mutual friend. Well, he had a friend that he introduced me to, who's now my friend, is Steve Butler.
I know Steve, yeah.
And I was sharing office space with Matt during the pandemic, and and he knew I had the old guitar, I still have my acoustic, and he goes, "You want to come over and play some guitar?" We jammed. I do what I knew, a couple chords, stuff like that. He goes, "You should take lessons." I said, "I don't have time for lessons." He goes, "We got nothing but time."
Oh yeah, because there's a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kept on suggesting Steve Butler, and I had saw Steve play. I went to go see Matt play right before the pandemic,
Hmm.
and he introduced Steve, and Steve came in, and I was like, "Man, that guy can really play a lead guitar,
Nice,
right?"
nice.
And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So went on for about a year. He keeps on bugging me about it, and then one day I just said, "All right, I'm going to give it a try."
Hmm.
And it was April 1st, 2021.
Okay.
So I remember going over to Steve's place for my first lesson. And it's funny because I had videos of him when we film our lessons and stuff. And I sent him that one. I said, "Here, Steve, where it all began, where you taught me how to hold the guitar." I remember him asking, he goes, "So what do you know?" And I'm like, "Well, let's do this, Steve. Why don't you just tell me how I should hold this guitar? We'll go from there." And that's what we
Step
did.
one.
But it's funny because now I have the video of him teaching me that, but I don't have the image of me because we had the pandemic haircut. My wife's cutting my hair,
Oh yeah.
right? I had just shaved head. I look like I just came out of a military.
Oh my God, that's
Right.
great.
And so, if you shave my head, I'm gray on the side, so my long hair covers it. So I'm like gray, look like I had like a top, just, it was just, that's who I was, right?
That's great.
So I would shuffle over at his house, and he started teaching me.
Nice.
And and we hit it off because I trusted him,
Okay.
and I trusted him to teach me what I needed to know.
Hmm.
And I think when he first picked up, he taught me how to play through songs, like
Okay.
through full songs,
Right.
and
Right.
kind of to build my ability to do it. And I think that made the difference.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, I wasted years, 20 years playing guitar, but just only playing like my favorite guitar riffs, you know? And I never really sat down to say, well, let me just pick up the acoustic and just try to strum through an entire song. I never did it for like 20 years. And then the minute I started doing that, which coincidentally happens around the same time, end of the pandemic, my playing progressed light years, you know?
And that's what did it for me,
Yep.
because before then, I probably in the early 2000s, actually, I'll move it up. Right before I had kids, I met Mitch Spector.
Mhm.
He had a little music shop in town, and I started taking lessons from him. And it was cool because when he taught me, he goes, "Look, if you don't want to learn some songs, let me just teach you some things about the guitar."
Yeah.
And he taught me some blues riffs and
Mhm.
some rhythm. And the reality is, my kids came at that point, and then I had no time to practice.
Sure. Yep.
And so, but he made me realize that if I actually focused on it,
Mhm.
what I could learn.
Yeah.
But it was when I met Steve and he had me start playing full songs, I started building finger strength. I
Mhm.
started thinking about playing through whole songs.
Right. Right.
And so my perspective changed on how to approach the guitar.
Mhm.
And we didn't focus on, like working from a book and learning different things. I learned by playing the songs.
Oh, that's great.
And
Yeah.
so what
Mhm.
occurred is that I'm learning the skills on rhythm, I'm learning strumming,
Mhm.
I'm learning chords, I'm learning timing and all those things. And then something happened during that process. And what occurred was that I told him I wanted to start singing,
Nice.
which is interesting because I did not have any singing voice or
Right.
training.
Right.
And up until recently, I probably didn't have one either because there's a lot of work in that. So we started in that. And then it came a point where I started acquiring more skills. And then Steve's a really good songwriter.
Okay.
He's written amazing songs. And I knew who I was with. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I want to learn songwriting.
Yeah. Sure.
So we took a stab at it.
Mhm.
And it kind of hit because I like storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And then so in the process, I'm learning how to do it in a song
Sure.
and the styles and how to phrase
Mhm.
and how to make things, you could talk about serious stuff, but you could make it fun if it rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so, that whole process started. And I think the motivation behind it, well, I don't think I know what the motivation initially was behind. I have young children. I'm figuring, you know what? I want them to be in music.
Yeah.
And I don't want just to send them to a class and say, play guitar,
Mhm.
watch daddy.
Right. Right.
And
Yep.
that's what I did. And it works. My kids play.
That's awesome.
And my little one in particular, he sings.
Mhm.
He's in the choir. We don't go to church, but he goes to preschool. So
Okay.
he's in the choir, and it's funny
That's
because
great.
he'll come to me and goes, Dad, he goes, I don't want to go there. I know that God song's nice and all, but I want to sing Highway to Hell. And I'm like, Julian, you can't sing Highway to Hell in a church, but do your best as a singer, and you can be a rock musician. And he really has, he's learned, they taught him timing and pitch
Yeah.
and breathing, and his little brain is
That's
picking all
cool.
this stuff up.
Yep.
So I thought about starting him with guitar lessons, but it's too early.
Mhm.
It's, her hands are small, and
Yeah.
I got him on piano,
Okay, cool.
and he's excelling at
Is he really?
it.
How old is he?
He's 6.
Wow, that's
Now,
awesome.
my older one's 8, and
Mhm.
he has an interest. He wants to play the drums, but he has my attention deficit disorder.
Okay.
Not diagnosed, but I know it.
Yeah.
And
My youngest one's the same way, I think.
it works for me.
Yep.
But I know that he's not mature enough to master it.
Right.
And there'll come a time for it, and maybe he'll just be in competition with his brother.
Right.
But Julian's at the point now with a few months of playing. He's got a really nice teacher, so he's got a rapport. I can play a note on my guitar, and he can find it on the
Oh, that's awesome.
by ear.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'll tell you a story that's about Julian, because he is my inspiration as well. So now I'm playing, right? I'm out in the bars and I'm playing, and I'm trying to get that experience down, and I'm doing original sets.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's a couple of reasons for that.
Sure.
One, if I miss up on a lyric, no one's going to know.
That's right. Yep.
And it is a progression of my interest, right?
Yep.
So we were at the Kings Road and Haddonfield, and there wasn't a lot of performers that night, so I'm getting to play my full set, which was about 5 songs.
Nice.
Julian's out because it was spring break. It was around by this time. He comes up with me, and I'm all right. He's here. He's singing the whole set with me right there. So I get to a point where I'm doing a song that I'm trying to learn for the first time. He stops, he comes in front of me and just smiles, and I just lost it in his face. I'm sitting there strumming, and then he walks away. My wife's out there, and she's smiling because she knows I forgot the lyrics at this point. And so I'm just strumming there. No one really knows, like, it's part of the song, or he starts singing it.
Oh my God, that's
I
great.
hear it, so I finish it. So that's part of my Julian experience, but it's even more because it's more relevant to what we're doing now. So last summer is when I focused with Steve to really get serious and starting to write songs that we're going to record.
Yep.
And the idea was, look, there's a lot of things you need to learn and focus on, and we'll, by the springtime, we'll get all the skills in, we'll do voice and everything else, and we'll start recording. But when everybody else was probably down the shore and going on vacation, Steve and I sat in his hot music room over the summer and we played music, and it was awesome. And part of it was, I came up with this song and we put it together, and Steve dug it, and it was changed my mind.
Okay.
And it I knew he really liked it because, I mean, these songs are co-written musically,
Yep.
Edited lyrically, and so it's a collaboration that I appreciate. It's really something special for me.
Yeah.
But I knew he dug that song because when we're recording it, he's into this solo on that song. I'm like, he really loves this song.
That's awesome.
Because I've watched him play over the years I've known him. I'm like, yeah. So we recorded it and we put it out, and then we went one step further. We made a video. Steve has a friend that he's known from when he in high school, and then their band Quincy, when they got the big record deal back in the 80s. Gerald Emmerich, and he asked Gerald if he'd be interested in producing the video for me. And he did. And Gerald put together a video set, we were going to do, and Steve did the camera work, and we did everything Gerald told us to do, and Gerald put together, and it was cool.
Nice.
And so it's like a lot of experience came together real quickly for
That's really cool.
And and then recording was I feel like it's been 4 years since we've been doing this with him, and I've been doing it twice a week, sometimes more. Working on voice, working on guitar skills, and then recording was a skill all in its own.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the few songs that I have, one song was recorded by Chuck M. My song "Firm Grip" that was recorded in his little studio in his basement at his old house. But the other 3 songs I have released have all just been recorded in my apartment. And it's a whole different skill set.
It really is, because I'm learning as we're going on, and so we did changed my mind, and I'm like, okay, let's move ahead with the EP. And I have multiple songs that we have written and worked together. We chose the ones that would kind of go together in a story, because as a storyteller, I wanted to they want to relate. So the next song we recorded was Working Man.
Yep.
And to go beyond Working Man, I needed more skill. We
Okay.
actually took a pause and started working on voice.
Oh, okay.
And Steve's teaching me on voice,
Mm-hmm.
because the songs are written in my range
Mm-hmm.
to the pitch and the notes and everything. I sing to the notes,
Yeah.
but that's why another reason I probably don't perform covers, because I don't study the covers like
Oh,
that.
right.
And
Yep.
I sing flat or I sing out of pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But so now we're going to record Bought What They Sold.
Okay.
And Bought What They Sold was a song that I've been playing for a while out and trying to get it down. And then the recorded version is edited and changed from what I was initially singing.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're singing the song, and I'm not getting it. The rhythm was, I couldn't pick up the rhythm.
Oh, okay.
I was thrown off by hearing the other. Steve plays I play acoustic,
Mm-hmm.
and Steve plays all the other instruments, including the bass.
Okay.
And then Mark Schreiber does the drumming track.
Yep.
And hearing this, and again, new experience, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's not
Yep.
like I had the luxury and the joy of struggling through this for over a period of time. It's like, all right, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So like, just simple things in the recording. He would turn it down. Says, "You're breathing." I said, "I think I'm doing it." I'm like, "Hear it," and you can hear, the breathing. So
Yeah.
those type of things. And then when it came to Bought What They Sold, I mean, I'll share tonight, and I share this with others, and I thought I was done.
Right.
Like, this is as far as I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it. I was like, okay, it was a nice run. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell people I recorded a song, and, I'll watch others. And then that week, my friend Jay Byam, who Steve recorded and produced, and Jay's performing in an area, and he put out like, "Hey, I need a place to crash. Things change. Can I crash somebody's couch?" And I'm like, to my wife, I said, Jay's into cats and dogs, so it's cool if he stays here, right? So yeah. So he literally took me up on it. So
Right.
he comes in. I think he drove all the way from Erie. He came to a gig just outside of Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
played there, and then drove to my house. He's showing up like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, "Honey, only young people could do this," because Jay's like 30, right? And so, but we hung out, we were talking. I'm like, eventually I had to cut off. Like, "Jay, so you got to get some sleep, man."
Yeah. Right.
So the next morning, he's asking me how the recording's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I told him the story. So I think I'm like, "No, you're not."
Mm-hmm.
And he starts telling me, he goes, "There's plenty of times when I've been recording, I forgot lyrics, or I'm out of rhythm." I'm like, "Come on, you," right? And he goes, "No, you." So we just moved a piano, electronic piano, into my home. It used to be my mom's.
Oh, okay.
He was over my dad's, and the idea was for my kids to play it.
Yep.
So now Jay's there, and he goes, "Now you sit down." He starts playing on the piano.
Is this 11 o'clock at night?
No, it's the next day, right? The next
Okay.
day when I'm ready to sell my guitars and and a whole bit. So he's getting me to do these voice lessons with him, and he's getting me with the timing, and he's like, and I'm like, all right. And I did. I
Yeah.
think he pushed me over the hump. And then I went back the next week with Steve, and I said, "I think I'm ready to do this."
Nice. That's awesome.
And we did, and we knocked it out. And I called Jay up, and I said, "Dude," I said, "This song, I credit you to get me over that hump."
That's great.
But that wasn't it, because then there was two more.
2 more humps.
There was two more, because the next two songs that we recorded were "I Am the One"
Mm-hmm.
and "Live Another Day with You." And both of those songs lyrically, I love,
Okay.
right? They are a challenge for me to sing.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, not a lot of experience out there playing, and
Mm-hmm.
I performed both. I performed "Live Another Day" often during the open mics,
Mm-hmm.
and now I look at because I video everything,
Yeah.
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
And I know it may come across to some as everybody being vain. You got a video. I'm like looking. I'm like, oh my God, right?
It's research.
But that's and I do it in my practice too.
Yep.
And I'm at the point of my practice now is like, where do I look? How does my head look? Can I put my chin out more? Should it look like a double chin? All that stuff, right? But it's mainly, discipline and to try to get the muscle memory. So I'm not playing this song, and Steve's working with me on it, but we never really took it seriously to the point when we were recording it. And during the recording of "Live Another Day with You," we changed the style of my approach.
Okay.
I think I was struggling trying to croon, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a crooner. I mean,
Right.
and it's kind of so I've learned to sing, to pitch,
Mm-hmm.
and move on
Okay.
and keep the timing. And that is how I got through that song. And in the end, I'm like, all right, I like the style.
Nice.
I
Nice.
like the style. And the other thing was just kind of getting used to my voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, you can tell, I can hear stories that John Lennon hated his voice. I'm like, it doesn't really matter because it's what you think, right?
Right.
We
Right.
don't think. And the truth of the matter
Yep.
is I'm comfortable with my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be able to sing to pitch.
Gotcha. Yep.
And there's been experience when I've been out singing. I remember I was at the Kings Road because that's where I live,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and Dave Kelly had the open mic, and he's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was singing there one night. I was singing my originals, and I remember this woman came up, and she was highly drunk, but sometimes you could be really, I mean, you sometimes just unfiltered when but
That's
she
right.
comes to me and goes, "Your songs are great, but you got to give them to him." He's pointing to my friend.
Oh my
Right, he
God.
goes, "You can't sing, and you'll never be able to."
No.
And he goes, "You're a great songwriter. You should stick with that." Never sing. So I went back and told my wife, and she
Ugh.
goes, "It's a good thing you're tough. You're tough-skinned." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm not quitting." But that night I had just gotten over a cold
Oh yeah.
on top of my
Mhm.
struggle to really learn to sing to pitch.
Sure. Sure.
So
And that's
a
tough. Yeah.
double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the recording really brought it front and center
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then I can hear it.
Right. Yep.
And so during that process, I became a better musician.
That's great. That's awesome.
And then it's done. And then what happens next? Now I had to go out and perform,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So I spent a lot of time singing, learning to sing, doing rhythm. And now I've kind of not been doing a lot of guitar. So, the last several weeks I've been back doing a lot of muscle memory stuff.
Okay, cool.
Just, focusing on things that are difficult to me, like going from an F chord to a C chord,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
over and over,
Yep. Yep.
or F to a D minor. And, it's things that now matter.
Yeah. 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 Yep.
And there's no easy way of doing it.
No, you just have to do it. You got to put the time in. Yep.
Hey, one thing, Dave, I can say this, and amongst the friends I met playing them out, I mean, the humbling experience and just the gratitude of being around people who are dedicated to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like,
Yep.
I come across some people who are professional performers and that's what their deal is.
Sure.
They come and perform and that's cool. But like most of us, we don't got jobs.
Right.
Right?
I got a 9 to 5.
Right. And, it takes a lot for some of us to like work a really hard job
Mm-hmm.
and then put it aside.
Then have
change
kids.
gears, have kids and
Mhm.
everything. And then, I remember when I was growing up, or I had this perception too, you see somebody playing like, wow, they have so much talent. And that's probably true for some,
Yeah.
but talent without work.
Yeah. Right. It's wasted.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And then you can just be good at something just by working it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I coach baseball and I was good at baseball. And I got my little ones and I teach the little ones. And what I try to teach them is like to get used to failure,
Mm-hmm.
getting used to being uncomfortable,
Yep.
getting comfortable being scared and afraid because that never goes away.
Yep.
And, but working at it
Mm-hmm.
and kind of telling, and it's rewarding to see that in the younger ones, not just my kids, but the ones
Right.
I coach.
Yep.
And, and it's the work ethic that makes it.
Yeah. It's interesting because those same principles in sports apply to music as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I was up on stage at an open mic, I was scared to death, but you just keep doing it and you get comfortable with it. And it just, and eventually most of it goes away, but there's still times if I'm playing and I gig a lot, but if I go to a new venue, a place I haven't played before,
Yeah.
I start getting nervous as soon as I pull in that parking lot.
Yeah. And here's what I tell people too, because, or the kids I coach, I was like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably worse when you're not scared or you're not anxious because then you're not focused.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Yep.
and you just accept that's going to be part of it, but
Mhm.
you get into this routine
Yep.
to do it. When I was in school, I met a mentor who was a actor.
Mm-hmm.
He was a sociology professor. And he was also a really good baseball player too. But I was kind of I was kind of trying to find my way when I was in college. I
Mhm.
joined a fraternity, had a great time.
Sure.
And then Dad said, "That's it. You're going to get a job."
You had too good of a time.
Yeah. So so now I found myself 19 years old. I'm back home. I'm working construction. I'm working pumping gas. And I
Mhm.
worked since I was like 7 or 8 years old,
Yeah,
right?
same.
That's just what I did.
Yep.
But that had me trained to be a state trooper. Like I was
Okay.
going to go to the academy. I'm taking boxing lessons and getting my ass kicked by professionals. But to make up time, I used to start going down to Stockton College for 2 reasons. 1, to kill some time. 2, to meet girls. So I wander into this classroom, and I was pumping gas that day. So I walked in, I'm working in Hamilton. I got my shorts on. I had my hat on backward. I'm sure I smelled like gasoline. And I'm sitting in the back of this classroom, and I wandered in there because I heard this booming voice, and it was the professor. And there's maybe 300 people in that room. And I'm on the back, and he goes, "We're going to do something today." He was a sociology teacher, but he's teaching speech class. We're going to do impromptu speaking. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is impromptu speaking? And this is, I said it in my head.
Right.
He goes, that means I'm going to call one of you up here. I'm going to give you a topic and you're going to talk in front of all of us. And I'm like, who's going to be that unlucky dude, right? And he goes, you with the hat in the back.
Oh my God, that's
And
great.
that changed my life.
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
I went up there, was freaking off.
Yeah,
It was
man.
the worst experience of my life.
Yep.
And then I was leaving that classroom, and I swore to myself, I'm never coming back anywhere near it. And through all the noise, I hear his voice call me back, son. He calls me back. He goes, come back on Thursday. I'm going to teach you how to do this.
Nice. That's awesome.
He did.
That's great.
And one of the things he taught me was a little actor's trick. He goes, don't go up and speak in front of the crowd as Joe Lombardo. Go up there as the speaker.
Oh, okay.
Put that in your head.
Yeah.
And think about 1 or 2 things you're going to say.
Yeah.
Don't think about everything you're going to say.
Right, all the bullet points.
All the bullet points, and cloud your head up. Just think about the first thing you're going to say and act the part. So there was a time when I was graduating, I had to get through a class where I had to give a speech. That was how you got past the class. Well, I forgot that lesson. And I froze up.
Oh, no.
And I remember the professor said, I'll give you another shot, but you can't get the top grade. So I went back to Franklin, and I told him, he goes, didn't I tell you? So I went back to the kid giving the speech before the class act.
Yeah.
But I have employed that throughout my entire life.
That's awesome.
And I try to teach it to my kids, like baseball. It's like, yeah, scared. Don't be Elliot. That's my son's little name. Don't be Elliot who's scared to go up there. Be the batter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Simple stuff. Like,
That makes sense. It makes sense. It reminded me of a quick story. I was at Rutgers Camden. That's where I went to school. And I was like my last semester there, and I needed like a couple of more electives to officially graduate. So in the same semester, I took Public Speaking 101 and I took Acting 101.
Perfect.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, right? I mean, if I had to redo it again, right? Those are the types of things you do that are fun.
Yep.
And now you take it if you get to put in we all have to work, and even you know what, it'd be boring to have to. Well, I don't know to judge people. If you had money and had to think about things,
right.
Would you still be creative? Would you push yourself to things? Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
But I like the opportunity now that I'm in a position in my life that I could do the things I really always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
there was a time when I was a younger man. I was working for someone who was older, and he was 50 and I was in my 30s. And I remember him telling me, he says, Joe, life gets really good when you're 50. And I'm like, I don't want to be 50, be this old dude. And here I am going to be 60. And I'm like, God, it's like, I feel like I'm a kid again. I mean, I wake up in the morning and things hurt.
Sure.
But he's right.
Yeah, you kind of hit a stride. I mean, I'm 52, so I get it. Like you kind of hit like a stride.
Yeah.
You're not so concerned about other people's opinions anymore. You kind of realize you might be on the other side of life, if you know what I mean. So you're like, if I'm going to do something, I'm just going to go do it, You're
more cognizant of what's you have in front of you and left.
Yeah.
You become less concerned. Well, you become aware of things you're not going to be.
Right. That's a good one.
I'm not going to be an astronaut.
That's a real good one. Yeah.
Point. But the other side of it is like you're more forgiving yourself to try things because what are you going to put it off for?
Right. What's the point?
All right. So if I didn't take my buddy's advice and take lessons 4 years ago, where would I be? Like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Right.
Right.
And unfortunately for me, I mean, my wife is really, really supportive and she knows it's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And, as long as I'm home by 9 to get the kids home and,
sure.
you get to get the kids to bed, it works.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of work that goes into this.
It is.
And that's why when I hang out with others in these open mics in particular, and I get everybody waiting around to do their 1 or 2 songs, and I realize they were practicing all week.
Oh, I know.
For 3 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
And, and there's just something that's just deep about that and just really special.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
It's when I first started doing open mics, I always tried to, and I'm a cover guy, right? Yes, I have a couple of original songs, but I'm 99% cover songs, and all my gigs are 99% cover songs. But when I first started doing open mics, I had a mission. I never wanted to repeat a song at an open mic, you know.
Yeah.
So like, and I would only go because of my parenting schedule. I would only go to this one particular open mic every other Wednesday. I would go at Harper's Pub in Clementon. And yeah, so like for those 2 weeks in between, I was learning like 3 brand new songs because I never wanted to repeat anything for
Yeah.
every time I went there, you know. And it was a mission.
It probably was really hard.
It was hard.
It was really hard because, like, I was instructed, given my skill levels, like, play one song
Yeah.
and
Yep.
play one song really, and then play 2 songs too, and just play those songs
Mhm.
because I'm still in that way because, like, I'm in my comfort zone for stuff I practiced,
Yeah. Yep.
and you got to risk it sometimes,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's a leap.
It sure is. All right, so I want to put a little bit of context
Sure.
on everything that you just explained, right?
Sure.
'Cause so for people that don't know,
Sure.
all the songs that you just mentioned, I think they're on an EP that you just released. Is that right?
That is correct.
What's the name of that EP?
That EP is called The Way of the World.
The Way of the World. It's available everywhere, right?
It is on, it's on all the Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and all the major platforms.
Okay, great. Tell me about like the music videos. I know you already talked about Change My Mind, and that was kind of filmed in this area, right?
Yep.
But what about the other one?
Well, the other 2 I've done recently, they were Bought What They Sold and Working Man. I actually went to California to film them on set.
Awesome.
I want to hang out with Gerald Emmerich, and my wife's like, "You really got to go to California to do this. You did this one locally," and I'm like, "You know what?" I said, Gerald is, he's a busy person.
Was it his idea to go to California?
It was my idea. I asked him if he would do it, and he agreed. And the thing is, I wanted to show him that I appreciated him.
Oh, okay.
And to show him the respect. And I wanted to hang out with him.
Nice.
I like stories.
Yeah.
And he and I spent a lot of time together. It was a short whirlwind. I was only out there for 4 days. But I was the first time I was going to go, I got sick. So that was canceled in December. So we did it in January. Or maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it was January, then it was February we did it.
Yeah.
And then it was snowing.
Oh, okay.
The day of I was supposed to leave early in the morning. I was going to fly into an airport closer to where he lives, but I had to reroute it, and I flew later into LAX.
Okay.
So he drove all the way up from near San Bernardino, where he was living, to pick me up. That was like more than a 2-hour ride for him to come get me. And then we drove all the way back. We spent a lot of time together.
That's awesome.
And to hear his stories, and then one of the cool stories that I wanted to hear was how he and Steve got discovered for their first album in Quincy when they got this big record deal for an American band from Columbia Records. And I've heard the story from others.
Yeah. Yep.
But I knew it was about him.
Right.
So I said, you got some time. You want to tell me about how you went up? And he did. He told me the story.
The
really cool.
The band sounds familiar. They were called Quincy.
Quincy, yeah.
Did they have a hit that I should know?
They had Turn the Other Way Around.
Turn the Other Way Around. I have to look it up.
Yeah.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Look, they got together about 2 years ago now.
Okay.
As time goes by, maybe a year, I'm losing track, but they all came together and they played, and it was awesome. But going out there and just hearing these stories, and then he told me how he hiked it, he backpacked across Europe, and then
cool.
backpacked to get to California, and it's just, I'm a people person.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like people. I like stories,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so I put it in his hand, which we're going to do. I send him the music, the recording, and then the lyrics, and then I'll do whatever you want. He is the professional, right? I didn't go there and say, I wanted this, I want that, and everything. And it's first take and done. Like, it's great. We went to Joshua Tree.
Yep.
I've never been there. Every time I've been to California, and I spent a lot of time in California in my single years. And my buddy lives in Southern California, a guy I grew up with.
Yep.
But he lives on the coast. I never been. Well, once we traveled, he and I, my buddy from California, we went to Vegas once. We got stuck in the desert.
Oh, shit.
And that was like my desert experience. But Joshua Tree's surreal.
Yeah, I drove through it a couple of times driving. I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, yeah.
And I would drive to visit my aunt in Laguna Beach.
Yeah, well,
So
that's my friend lives
okay.
near Laguna Beach.
Yeah. So yeah, my aunt actually lives in Dana Point, but
That's I
he
met up
lives
with
there too.
well, his business is there, and when we did do a shoot on Dana Point on the beach, because that's one of my favorite
Okay,
spots.
yeah, it's beautiful.
It didn't make it to the video.
Oh,
And that's okay,
yeah.
because the theme of what Gerald wanted to do works.
Yeah.
But everything we shot in the video is in Joshua Tree and the surrounding
Okay.
areas.
Yep.
There's also now a place where we did the video. It's called the Palms. Oh my God, forgive me again. My COVID fog still hitting me. But there's this restaurant bar out in the middle of the desert,
Oh wow. Okay.
right?
Yep.
And it's a good distance from the coast,
Mhm.
and people come from all around for the musicians that perform there.
Right.
And it turns out that Gerald, I think, was going there to perform something, and he realized the owner was a friend of his, if I recall the story correctly, from they grew up with, but they separated when they grew up,
Yeah.
and so they reconnected. So the owner allowed us to shoot there.
Oh, cool.
And I think there's one image in the video. It has the end of the world, these big structure,
Mhm.
and I think it's probably like a tourist attraction now, but it's out of nowhere, right? I think Bad Bunny filmed the video.
Oh, really?
Right. So I told my 6-year-old that Bad Bunny, because my son loves bunnies.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like really psyched. But it was just, that whole experience was surreal. It's a whirlwind. I mean, you're talking 4 days
Yeah.
of
Sure.
traveling in car,
Yep.
taking shots,
Yep.
not knowing how it's going to turn out.
Yep.
But it was, look, if I never make another video,
Mhm.
I got the
You
experience.
did
on
it.
that
You
one,
did it.
yeah.
You did 2 videos on that trip?
I did.
Okay, cool. And have they been released yet?
Everything's been released.
Okay, good.
We have a marketing person bought what they sold on the radio,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's starting to get radio play on AAA.
Nice.
So it just started, and Sirius Bob, he told me to put everything out.
Mhm.
And so all the music was released all in one time.
Yep.
All the videos are all in one time. They're up there. And the day I learned, because I posted them, like, when they're going to come out. And also I started getting emails like, oh, they're all live. And then I get an email saying that the CDs were available all in the same day. I'm
nice.
like, all
Okay.
right, it must be a sign.
Nice. So you have hard copy stuff too, right? Physical CDs? Uh-oh, look out.
Yeah, I anticipated.
Check it out. All right.
This is for you.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The Way of the World. Let me see if I can hold up so people can see it. Yeah, man. The Way of the World. That's awesome. All right. So Changed My Mind, Bought What They Sold, Working Man, I Am the One, and Live Another Day with You.
Correct.
5 songs. Sweet.
5 songs.
Awesome.
And the artwork on it.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Mhm.
The artwork on it, I have a friend of mine, Dickie Alberson, who did photographs for everything on that. And then Jay Runyon.
Oh, yeah. I know Jay.
She
Yep.
put it all together. She did my business card, and she put all the artwork together.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
I have 2 really awesome artists
Mhm.
working together, and look, it's there.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's
great.
a statement, the artistic statement that went into all that hard work that went into it. And I'm really, really grateful.
That's awesome.
Really
I love it. I love it. It's great. I see you've got your Pete Scavello t-shirt on. When are we getting the Joe Lombardo t-shirt?
Well, that's funny. He said that too, because, and my story with Pete was, I'm starting to do the open mics, and it's at the Kings Road. That's where Dave Kelly had the open mics. And I remember I'm there one night, and I'm probably nervous, right?
Sure.
And here comes this big dude, right? Everybody knows Pete's tall.
He's like 6'3" or 6'4" or something like that.
Cool tattoos, and he got the hair to go with it, and he's all in black. And I'm like, wow. And then he's coming with his kids, a couple kids, and they had a group. Turns out it was his son Mason.
Yep.
And Pete is and you know him.
It's the nicest guy in the world.
Nicest in the world. I instantly took to him, instantly respected him. I mean, he got up and he played. I'm like, oh my God, like awesome.
Yeah.
And then his son played, and it was his first time that Mason played.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to see that.
That's
and
awesome.
Talking, like I was saying, how I wanted to inspire my young son and how we would play together. And here you are with Mason playing, and we just hit it off. So I have this thing now. I got his shirt, and I'll take pictures of wearing it at certain places.
Nice.
Look at this. So this came to California.
Oh, awesome.
So when he was the featured artist when we have one night, and I showed up, I like this, and I'm like, I unveiled it. So yeah,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been, look, I used to say, Dave, I wish I'd done this earlier in life.
Oh, I say that all the time.
But I'm now at a point where, you know what, I'm doing it now.
Yeah. At least
Right.
you're doing it, right?
And I am in a happy place with everybody I've met.
Hmm.
Every time I go out, I meet really good people.
Yeah, it's a great community.
It really
Yep.
is. And I mean, we could drop names and shit, and I don't want to miss anybody, but there hasn't been a single person who's not dear to me,
Yeah, that's awesome.
who I wouldn't want to hang out with more. I'm just really, really grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said it a million times on this podcast, but it's really the people. That's the reason why I started this whole
Yeah.
podcast, was just to shine a little light on all these beautiful souls, right? Everybody's got a story, and it's great.
It's so incredible. And it's like, there'll be days when I had a bad day.
Hmm.
And my friends will push me, you gotta come out and play, and I'm like really tired, and I push myself, and I always come back
Yeah.
like energized
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
happy.
Yep.
The A couple weeks ago I went out, I was really tired, and I'm like, maybe I'll just go and watch, but then I played,
Hmm.
and then I'm like, I'm still hanging there and I'm still tired. Then I watched this father son get up.
Hmm.
You might know who I'm talking about, George Abe and
I
Gavin Abe,
Yeah.
10-year-old kid.
Yeah, I think
So
so. I've never seen them, but I've seen them on Facebook.
you might
Yeah.
see on
Yep.
Facebook,
Yep.
and so I'm at Brew Littles, and I'm
Hmm.
watching, and this little 10-year-old comes up with his earphones because dad's protecting his ears,
Hmm.
and I thought that was cool.
Yep.
It was unbelievable, right? And I mean, it just warmed my heart so
Hmm.
much that I was in such a good mood. I get home because I stayed out late for me, and then my wife's sleeping. I'm trying to tell her the story. She goes, "Oh yeah, that's great. Tell me in the
Tell me
morning, right?
tomorrow.
Right?" And so, but it carried me through the week.
That's great, man.
Right?
That's awesome.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, that kid just rocked it. And then another one of their friends came up and they asked Gavin, his name, if he wanted
Mhm.
to play the solo on it,
Okay.
and he killed it. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Again, Dave, if that was the last thing I did in my life, I'd go happy.
That's great. Well, you seem very happy. I mean, this is only my second time, I think, meeting you, right?
Okay.
And the first time, at Reunion Hall, we hung out for a bit, we chatted for a bit, got to know each other, watched you play, you did great, and I was like, yeah, he's a cool dude. But yeah, dude, you seem like super, super like happy and just in it, and I love it.
I'm a work in progress, man. I mean, there's plenty time. Oh, I was out, where was that? The Brew Littles, right? So I'm
Mhm.
performing, Bought What I'm Sold, right? I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, oh man, where's that lyric I just forgot? I'm calling my friend Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, what's that song that I recorded, went to California to, and singing and coming? He goes, yeah. He goes, Sweet California. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then we played through it. But, that's the fun part. But,
Mhm.
I guess what I'm trying to do, and if I do it well, great. And I'm trying to get better every time I play.
Yeah.
Not for me, it's for everybody else. Because I
Yeah.
think what I'd like to convey to everybody who I play with, like, I respect what you do.
Hmm.
I know how hard it is for you.
Yep.
I know how hard for some of you to come up and be in front of people. I
Mhm.
sort of do it for a living, but I don't sing in front of people.
Right. Right. Right.
But it's hard because you feel like you're being judged.
Yep.
You don't want to make a mistake.
Sure.
And it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay. You want to get over that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I'm going to get better at it.
That's awesome.
I want to get better at performing. I want to be able to perform where I could be as flawless as I can,
Hmm.
even though there will be mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know exactly where you're at in your journey. I can only speak of mine. Like I've gotten to a point where, and again, I'm 99% cover songs, but I'll be up in a gig and there'll be times I'm on autopilot, like I'm not thinking about the chords or the lyrics. It's just coming out and I can just be in the moment and enjoy it and watch the audience and see who's paying attention and who's not. And, oh, why'd they get up and go to the bathroom now? Like, did I hit a bad, but like you can kind of experience the whole thing even though you're in the middle of doing it. It's great.
And I guess that for me a little bit is, I'm in my own mindset,
Hmm.
and if someone's not paying attention, like that's okay for them. Maybe they're
Yeah.
hearing, maybe it's putting them in a place they want to be, but I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I want to connect sometimes, but I need to be able to stay focused when I do that.
Sure. Sure. Yep.
And again, I didn't have all that experience growing up playing like I am now,
Hmm.
where I can go back and like, yeah, that was like when I remember that 20 years ago. It's like I remember that like last week, right? But what it really comes down to, Dave, is like where I want to be with all this. I love songwriting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love going out and watching a lot of lot of people.
Mhm.
I love covers. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
love music, right? You play some great stuff. I
Thank you.
follow you, man. And
Thanks.
it's like you put your own spin in it. You played a Pink Floyd cover together.
Comfortably numb.
Yes, that was freaking sweet, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and what I like about it is, you could put your own personality in it, and but I like lyrics.
Mhm.
I like songs that tell stories. Like I'm still a Tom Petty.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've learned his influences. It
Mhm.
was the Birds and stuff. And for example, Bought What They Sold, the the person who's marketing online, Serious Bob, he likes that song.
Mhm.
I mean, he's from that genre. He goes, yeah, I could hear it's kind of very Birds-like. Very,
Oh, cool.
I'm like, well, that's because that's how it was. That's how it was designed. I mean, Steve broke out the 12 string. I said I was
Yep.
going to California. And I
Mhm.
said, yeah, you listen to it. And he goes, but I also like the vibe, and I like the lyrics, the story it tells. And I said, that's what I like to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
So where does it go from here? Well, I'll get better as a guitar player.
Mhm.
I'll learn more about music. I'll learn more about dynamics,
Yep.
and I'll get better at my songwriting.
Mhm.
And who knows? Maybe my son, maybe if he'll let me sit in the back and
There you go.
scrub.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it online. I got this video I posted of my little boy. He was 5 at the time.
Mhm.
He goes, I got a song. I got my own song. I want to sing a song for mommy.
Okay.
All right. So I'm assuming he's going to just sing some of the stuff I've been doing. I
Mhm.
go up my music room. I just start playing, nothing rehearsed. He's already on time. He waits for it. He's got the camera. He's
That's
looking right
great.
at the camera, right?
Yep.
And starts drumming, and he just starts singing this song. And then I thought he's done, and he gets kind of like, I'm not finished yet, right? So I'm continuing to play, and then when he's starting to put it down, I stop strumming, and then he knew on key to stop, and he sits there and he looks at the camera like, oh my God, only their generation, the generation that's been photographed since they were like 2 cells.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yep.
And
Since they were a zygote.
well, my oldest was. He was IVF. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
him from his cells, right? And then my other one just came along. I'm like, okay, we get the free one. But it's incredible to see their interest in it. And I
Yeah.
have another Julian story that I'll share that's dear to me as well. There was a time when I took him out to go see Steve play,
Okay.
right? And he was getting into it, watching it, and like, this is cool. He's getting inspired. Next morning, we wake up, I hear him downstairs and he's singing. And I'm like, I tell my wife, I says, well, what's Julian doing? He goes, why don't you go check? He's down in my little office
Mhm.
and he's singing. He goes, Dad, I want you to record this song. I made a song. I want to be able to save it to sing when I'm an adult. Because I guess it's mine. You want to
Nice.
sing.
Yep.
So he's singing this song. It's going, it's not me, it's not you, it's not me. And it's going on and on. And I recorded it. So you kind of may know where this is going, which changed my mind. If you know the chorus and changed my mind. He goes, it's not me, it must be you, right? So, because I kind of, I write in different ways, but in that song, I started with the chorus
Okay. Yep.
because it was in my head, right?
Right. Right.
And it's also a song that I wrote at the time lyrically. There was, it was during an election, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of contentiousness.
Yep.
And I don't like to write songs that people know what's in my head.
Okay.
I try to write something that is in my head, but it's a reflection of whatever someone else thinks it
Yeah.
is.
Open for interpretation, I guess. Right.
But it was an observation, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's nice to know that the song is still relevant because we still can't agree on stuff. So
True.
but so I'm singing this song, right? I'm all excited about, we got it recorded. It's really cool. And Julian's not really being happy right around the house because
Mhm.
I would practice and he'd come by and correct me on my lyrics.
Oh, really?
So now he's just like walking by and giving me the look. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, does he know that's the lyrics? I went back and I talked to Steve during the lesson because, Joe, there's this saying in the industry, in for a word, in for a third.
Yeah. That's right. You owe him a third now.
So I went home and I said, Julian, you want to hear the song that me, Mr. Steve, and you wrote? And I'm telling you, Dave, his whole face
He
lit
lit up.
and
Yep.
he then sang the song with me.
That's fantastic. I love
So when I play it, because I'm going to I have an event coming up where I'm going to play it for the first time
it. Mhm.
on May 4th, to do a little plug.
Nice. Nice.
I'm a special guest for my friend, Jay Byam,
Okay.
and it's going to be at the Positively 4th Street Church.
Okay. May 4th.
May
All right.
4th. It's a Sunday. It's at 3
Yep.
p.m. So I'm opening for him, and I'm going to do my full 15 minutes of fame.
Awesome.
And I will introduce that song and give Julian his full due credit.
Very cool. Very cool. That's great. I love it. All right, what songs are you going to do for us today?
Well, I think I will play Bought They Sold. It is the song that's out on the radio now.
Yep.
And I'll do Working Man. Working Man is a crowd pleaser when I go out. People starting to know it. People start, it's got a catchy little chorus to it. People start to pick it up.
Nice.
And the song and the lyrics behind it are the little insight on the story. This was the song I first came, like there's times when I'll be writing with Steve, he'll give me a progression and we'll come back with some lyrics. This was a song that I worked on the progression myself.
Mm-hmm.
I came back, I liked the way it sounds, and I came with him with this lyrics that I put together. And I remember I sat down, I was so proud of myself. We're playing, he's like, I just don't like the vibe of the story.
Oh, really?
Right?
Okay.
And I like the bluntness, and I agree with him. It just, he thought I think he thought that the music would be something else. So I went back to drawing board and came back, and next time it was rejected again. So I put it aside, right? And then there was a time when I was just sitting and I was like thinking about it. I was watching TV and I was out and about, and I just start thinking about, how a lot of us struggle working the jobs we really don't want to do, but we got bills to pay.
Sure.
And a lot of us like to grab our guitar and run away. So I put it together, and and it hit.
Nice. That's great.
So that's the story with that, and it's one of my favorite. That's the video that was filmed, shot in Graham Parsons' room where he passed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't know we were going to film it there, and I candidly didn't know the full story until afterwards. It's kind of like there's a cult drawing to go to that room.
Is there? I don't know the story. I mean, I know who Graham Parsons is, but I don't know how he passed away.
He passed away to an overdose in that room.
Okay.
I think he was only in his late 27, maybe, if I get that correctly. And he loved Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And I don't know if he intended to pass that day. It just happened. But that's where it was. And so people come from all over. His followers want to stay in that room.
Wow.
So I realize now that one of the assistant friend I made out there, Rick Cantor, he stayed in that room overnight purposely so I would be able to be in that room.
Oh, that's cool.
We're running late, and they're calling to see if they can stay longer. And I'm like, no, you guys got to get out.
Oh, no.
So we shot it there. So I try to do the song justice, and I'll do that one first.
All right. That sounds great.
Right, cool.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast, Joe. I appreciate it. It was great. It's great having.
I am so humbled and so appreciative. It's really great that you do this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because I mean, it's hard to explain to others the how it feels to be out amongst my friends. This captures it, right?
Good.
And even I can listen to my room if I don't get away. I can listen. I enjoy all the stories.
Good. I'm glad. All
right, this is off my EP, Way of the World. Here is Working Man. Up all night, 6 a.m., getting hard to see. In the midst, a broken man, woe for me. I want found some love, but I need to sleep. Work every day for my pay, there's nothing to keep. Working man, yes I am. Working man, this is who I am. Not for me, set me free. Got to be a better way for a man to spend his life. Working man, this way of life drains my soul, it wears me down. I'm still young, feel so old, like I'm in the ground. Work so hard all day long, I'm skin and bone. Work to live, everyone, yet I'm alone. Working man, yes I am. Working man, this is who I am. Not for me, set me free. Got to be a better way for a man to spend his life. Working man. I still got this fear. That is why I'm still stuck in here. What a fool for trusting them, maybe so. Shed my blood, gave my soul, they let me go. One day I'll wake, hope and pray, find the strength, grab my guitar, just run away. Working man, yes I am. Working man, is it who I am? Not for me. Set me free. Got to be a better way for a man to spend his life. Working man. Play guitar, you'll go far. Grow your hair long, play your song. Working man, working man. Hey, working man, set yourself free.
All right. Nice.
Thank you, man.
Very nice.
All right, so here is I'm going to play "What They Sold." This is the song that's on the radio now. This is a song that we wrote to go to California with. There was a time I go to California a couple times a year to find myself. The story is we're always being told, religion, politics, advertising, telling us how we should be. And really what it comes down to is acceptance. I come to realize I'm good on my own skin, and we all should be that way. So here is What They Sold. Caught a break other day, made some plans to get away. Spend some time in the sun, sweet California, having some fun. Tell myself I found my soul, a new beginning with some good rock and roll. Can't ignore, I've been told he's running around, he's just getting old. I bought what they sold. Person I see in my mind, nothing is endless, it's more than a sign. Now I'm aware of my own demise, yet it all seems like a big surprise. Tell myself, found my soul, a new beginning with some good rock and roll. Can't ignore that I've been told he's running around, he's just getting old. I bought what they sold. Tell myself, found my soul, new beginning with some good rock and roll. Can't ignore, I've been told he's running around, just getting old. I bought what they sold. So I have this fear in my mind, a life is passing, it's so unkind. Person I see in my mind, now understands I'm running out of time. Tell myself I found the gold, my new religion is some good rock and roll. Can't ignore, but I've been told he's running around, he's just getting old. I bought what they sold, I'll do what I'm told. It's the way of the world.
All right, nice.
Thank you.
Sounds great, brother.
Thank you,
Sounds
man.
great. You're